Maple Street. Everyone on Maple Street has a story, the old cafe owner liked to say. Some people tell theirs with a smile, and others, well, they keep them locked away. At 6 o'clock in the morning, Sophia McCarthy woke up to make breakfast. She was 38 years old and lived with her 12-year-old daughter, Lily. Since her divorce, Sophia tried her best to keep life stable for Lily. She prepared toast, eggs, and hot tea in her little kitchen. She worked fast but kept quiet, hoping not to wake Lily too early. When Lily finally came to the kitchen, she looked unhappy. She sat down and poked at her toast with a fork. "Mom, this bread is too dry," Lily said with a frown. Sophia tried to stay calm. "I'm sorry, Lily. Do you want jam or butter?" Lily shrugged. "Why can't we just eat breakfast at a cafe, like normal people?" Sophia sighed and lowered her eyes. She knew Lily was still angry about the divorce. Lily was also entering her teenage years, and that made everything harder. Sophia tried to speak in a gentle tone. "We can eat at the cafe on the weekend. For now, I just want to spend a simple morning at home." Lily rolled her eyes and did not reply. She ate a few bites, then stood up. Sophia watched her daughter walk away, feeling a sting of sadness in her heart. Across the street, Joe Campbell was unlocking the door to his hardware store. Joe was 55, tall, and friendly. Long ago, he was a football coach. An injury forced him to retire early. Now, he spent his days selling nails, paint, and small tools. Neighbors loved his store because Joe always offered good advice and a warm smile. That morning, Meg Parks walked in. She carried a very old lamp with a broken cord. "Joe," she asked, "do you have a spare part for this lamp? It's an old model." Joe examined it. "This is really old, but I'll try to find something that fits." Meg sighed. "It belonged to my late husband. If it can't be fixed, I'll buy a new lamp." Joe watched her carefully. He saw the sadness in her eyes. "I'll do my best, Meg," he said softly. When Meg left, Joe felt a small ache. He remembered his own son, Adam. They had a big argument years ago. They had not spoken in a long time. Joe often wondered if he, too, was stuck in old memories. Next to the hardware store stood a red brick house where Alice and Harry Baker lived. Alice was 34 and worked as a manager at an advertising company. She was always busy. Harry was 36 and worked as a freelance photographer. He loved art and freedom. They were very different, but once they had been deeply in love. That morning, they sat at the kitchen table, each quietly eating eggs. The silence felt heavy. Finally, Alice spoke. "Harry, do you remember we have dinner tonight with your sister?" she asked. Harry looked confused. "Oh, I forgot. I planned to drive to the countryside to take photos." Alice set her fork down. This is important. We promised your sister weeks ago. Harry avoided her eyes. I'm sorry. Maybe I can cancel my photo trip, but I'm not sure. Alice's shoulders fell. She loved Harry, but she felt he was avoiding serious issues. She also wanted a child, and Harry kept putting it off. They both knew the problem was bigger than just inner plans. At the end of Maple Street stood a small restaurant owned by 28-year-old Noah Jensen. He dreamed of making it the best restaurant in town. He worked every day, from early morning until late at night. His mother, Melinda, often came to help. She cleaned tables or chopped vegetables. She worried that Noah was pushing himself too hard. "Noah," she said that morning, "your sauce has too much salt. You should taste it." Noah frowned. "Mom, I'm the chef. I know what I'm doing." Melinda wiped the counter. "You are a good chef, but you never rest. And you never visit me unless I come here." Noah paused. He felt guilty, but he told himself he had to focus on building his business. "Mom, I promise I will spend more time with you soon, after I succeed with this restaurant." Melinda did not argue. She just sighed and turned away. Noah returned to his cooking, but his mother's words stayed in his mind. That evening, Maple Street grew quiet. Meg sat on her porch with her old guitar. She plucked the strings and sang a soft, sad tune. Her late husband had loved her voice. Now, the music reminded her of better times. Through her window, Sophia could see Meg. Sophia felt an urge to go out and talk to her, but she hesitated. She closed her curtains instead, returning to her own thoughts. One day, Joe Campbell called a meeting at the old cafe in the center of Maple Street. He had an idea for a community festival. The cafe owner helped set out chairs, and soon the neighbors gathered. Joe stood up and cleared his throat. "Maple Street needs more joy. I suggest we hold our annual community festival in 1 month. We can have music, food booths, and handmade crafts. Let's bring back the spirit of this street." Alice nodded in agreement. She thought some publicity might help her forget her own problems. Sophia also smiled. She liked the idea of building community ties again. Noah offered to make special dishes for the festival. Meg listened quietly. "Meg, I heard you play the guitar," Joe said. "And you used to teach music. Will you help organize the music performance?" Meg blushed. "I haven't performed in a long time," she said. "I'm not sure if people still want to hear me." Joe smiled. "We need you, Meg. Nobody else can do it." After some discussion, the neighbors agreed on a date. They divided tasks. Joe was in charge of the overall organization. Alice would handle advertising posters. Sophia would plan a small talk about family communication. Noah would set up a food stall. Meg would consider playing music. The meeting ended, and everyone returned home with mixed feelings of excitement and worry. As the festival drew closer, Sophia tried to talk to Lily about joining the activities. She wanted Lily to help with the children's corner at the festival. But Lily was distant. "Why do you always want me to follow your plans, Mom?" Lily said one day. "You act like I have no life of my own." Sophia kept her voice calm. "I just want to spend time together. I think it might be fun." Lily shrugged. "We'll see." Later that night, Sophia discovered that Lily had sneaked out to meet friends and missed her homework. When Lily returned, they had a loud argument. "You never listen to me!" Lily shouted. "You just want to control everything, but you can't even control your own life." Sophia felt tears in her eyes. She knew Lily was hurting. She also knew they were stuck in a bad cycle. Joe had emailed his son, Adam, who lived in a different city. A few days passed, and there was no reply. Late one afternoon, Joe cut his hand by accident while opening a box of nails. Meg happened to be in the store, and she helped him bandage it. "Joe, maybe you should take a break," she said gently. "Visit Adam in person." Joe shook his head. "I'm afraid he won't forgive me. I spent too many years ignoring him. After my wife died, I threw myself into football coaching. Adam felt abandoned." Meg gave him a kind look. "It's never too late to say sorry." Alice designed bright posters for the festival and hung them around town. She tried to focus on this work to distract herself. But at home, the tension with Harry grew. One evening, she found a plane ticket in Harry's camera bag. It was for a trip overseas. He had never told her about it. "Harry," Alice said, holding the ticket, "are you running away?" Harry sighed. "I'm not running away. I just have a photography opportunity abroad. I need to see if it helps my career." Alice felt her voice shake. "But you never even mentioned it to me. Is this marriage not important to you?" Harry looked down. He did not know how to answer. Alice felt a deep fear that he was giving up on them. Noah was busy creating a new menu for the festival. He worked late, forgot to rest, and did not notice his mother's tired face. One afternoon, Melinda suddenly fainted in the restaurant's kitchen. Noah panicked. He rushed her to the hospital, where doctors said she was exhausted and needed rest. In her hospital room, Noah gently held her hand. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I was chasing my dream and forgot about your health." Melinda squeezed his hand. "I just want you to remember that family is precious. I believe in your dreams, but don't forget me." Meg tried to practice her guitar each day, but she felt unsure. She worried that people would not like her songs anymore. One afternoon, she heard Lily crying in Sophia's house next door. She saw Sophia hugging Lily and speaking calmly. Meg realized how important it was for people to share their gifts. Music might heal people's hearts. She went to Joe's hardware store and said, "I'll do it. I'll perform at the festival, but please don't expect me to be perfect." Joe grinned. "Meg, your music will be perfect to us." As the festival approached, the neighbors prepared decorations, practiced music, and set up booths. They felt excitement, but also tension. Sophia planned a short talk on family communication. She wrote simple notes about listening and empathy. At the same time, she felt troubled. How could she advise others when her own daughter barely spoke to her without fighting? She stayed awake at night, thinking about her divorce. She also thought about Lily's hurt feelings. Finally, she decided to try a new approach. She knocked on Lily's bedroom door before bedtime. "Lily," she said softly, "I'm sorry if I make you feel controlled. I promise to listen more. I really love you." From behind the door, Lily's voice sounded calmer. I know you love me, Mom. I just get angry sometimes." Sophia felt a little hope. Maybe they could still heal. 2 days before the festival, Joe closed the hardware store early. He got into his old truck and drove 2 hours to Adams City. He stood outside his son's apartment, heart pounding. Finally, Adam opened the door. He was taller and older than Joe remembered. His eyes held a guarded look. "Dad?" Adam asked. "Why are you here?" Joe swallowed hard. "I want to invite you to our festival on Maple Street. It's a tradition. And I miss you." Adam stared at him. The silence felt long. Then Adam sighed. "Fine. I'll come," he said quietly. "But don't expect everything to be okay at once." Joe felt tears in his eyes. He nodded. "I understand. Thank you." Alice found Harry sitting at the dining table, looking at his plane ticket. She sat down next to him. "Harry, can we talk?" she asked. He nodded, still looking at the ticket. "I'm sorry I pushed you about having a baby," she said. "But I need to know if we are a real team or not." Harry rubbed his forehead. "I'm scared, Alice. I don't know if I can be a good father. I also feel like I'm failing as a husband." Alice placed her hand on his. "We can face our fears together. You don't have to run away." Harry closed his eyes. "I'll delay this trip. Let's try to fix our marriage first." They shared a hug, small but honest. They both felt relief. Noah took his mother home from the hospital. He made her comfortable and prepared her meals. He apologized again. "Mom, after the festival, I will hire more help at the restaurant. I will spend more time with you," he promised. Melinda smiled, though she looked weak. "Thank you, Noah. I just want you to have balance. I believe you can do it." Meg stayed up late the night before the festival. She held an old photo of her husband, remembering his gentle encouragement. Then she picked up her guitar and practiced a new song she wrote called "The Memory of Maple Trees." Her fingers trembled at first, but soon the melody flowed. She felt a mix of sadness and hope. At last, the morning of the festival arrived. The sun shone bright over Maple Street. Neighbors hung colorful flags between the maple trees. Long tables lined the sidewalks, holding handmade crafts and delicious foods. A small stage stood in the center of the street for music performances. Children ran around with balloons. The air smelled like baked bread, grilled meat, and sweet desserts. Meg stood on the small stage with her guitar. Her hands shook as she faced the crowd. She saw Joe smiling at her from the front row. She saw Sophia and Lily standing together. She took a deep breath and began to strum the first chord. Her voice was soft, then grew stronger as she sang, "The Memory of Maple Trees." The melody drifted across the audience. People fell silent, listening to the heartfelt lyrics. Some had tears in their eyes. When Meg finished, the crowd cheered. She felt warmth in her heart. She bowed, eyes shining. "Thank you," she whispered into the microphone. Joe wiped away a tear. He knew this moment was special for Meg. Sophia led a small workshop near the stage. She spoke to parents about understanding teenagers. Many neighbors listened politely. Lily stood nearby, pretending not to care. Yet she kept glancing at her mother. Sophia's voice was calm but firm as she explained the importance of patience and empathy. Afterward, Lily approached Sophia. "Mom," she said softly, "I heard what you said. Thank you for trying. I'm sorry if I'm rude sometimes." Sophia gave Lily a gentle hug. "Thank you for being here with me. I love you." Lily blushed but smiled. They decided to walk around the festival together. Joe and Adam arrived at the festival together. Joe introduced Adam to the neighbors. Some remembered Adam as a boy running around Maple Street. Adam was nervous at first, but people greeted him warmly. After Meg's performance, Joe led him to the old cafe wall, where a photo of Adam as a child still hung. "Look at that picture," Joe said, pointing to little Adam holding a football. "You were so excited back then." Adam stared at the photo. His eyes grew sad. "I was excited to spend time with you. Then you became so busy after Mom died." Joe put a hand on Adam's shoulder. "I'm sorry. I made mistakes. I hope we can start again." Adam nodded. "I can't promise everything will be perfect, but I want to try." They embraced, tears in both their eyes. Alice and Harry walked through the festival, looking at the booths. They tasted Noah's new dishes. They chatted quietly about their future. "Alice," Harry began, "I want to show you something." He pulled out a photograph. It was a picture of a small baby bunny in the field near Maple Street. "I took this photo yesterday," Harry said. "I was thinking about how new life can be fragile, but also full of wonder." Alice blinked back tears. "That's beautiful, Harry." He took her hand. "I'm not ready to be a father right now, but I want us to work on our marriage. Maybe soon we can start a family. Together." Alice squeezed his hand. "Yes. Let's face it together." Noah's food stall was a major success. He served fresh salads, homemade bread, and special pasta dishes. The line stretched down the street. People praised his creativity. Melinda sat near the stall, watching her son shine. "You must be proud," said one neighbor to Melinda. She nodded. "I am. He works hard. But now he also understands the importance of family." When the crowd thinned, Noah gave his mother a plate of sweet pastries. "Here, Mom. Try these." Melinda tasted one. "Delicious," she said with a smile. "I'm happy to see you so fulfilled." Noah nodded. "Thank you for always supporting me. After today, I will balance my time. I promise you that." As the sun went down, Maple Street glowed with lanterns. People gathered on the grass in a common area. Meg performed one final piece on her guitar, a soft lullaby that brought peace to everyone's hearts. Small children fell asleep in their parents' arms. Teenagers laughed together. Old friends caught up on life. Sophia and Lily sat on a bench. Lily leaned her head on her mother's shoulder. "Mom," Lily said, "I actually had fun today." Sophia's eyes filled with tears of joy. "I'm so glad. I had fun too." They watched the lanterns flicker in the trees. For the first time in months, Sophia felt close to Lily again. Joe and Adam stood by the hardware store, looking at the moon. "Dad," Adam said, "I might come back more often. Maybe even move closer." Joe smiled. "That would mean a lot to me." They talked about football and memories of Adam's mother. Their hearts felt lighter. Alice and Harry wandered quietly, hand in hand. They listened to Meg's lullaby. "Let's stay here for a while longer," Harry said. Alice leaned into him. "Yes," she whispered. "I think we're finally heading in the right direction." Noah finished cleaning his stall. He found his mother sitting under a maple tree, its branches casting gentle shadows. "Thank you, Mom," he said, "for everything." Melinda smiled. "My son, you have a good heart. Just remember to share it with the people you love." He nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. Meg ended her final song and set her guitar aside. She looked out at the crowd. People clapped softly. Some wiped tears from their eyes. Meg felt whole. She whispered, "Thank you," and thought of her late husband. She hoped he was proud of her for finding her courage again. In the days after the festival, Maple Street returned to its usual calm. Yet, each person carried a new spark of hope. They had faced their fears and found comfort in the kindness of neighbors.